Hello, this is Photography Gamer. Welcome to another episode of the Virtual Photographer's Guide. In today's episode, I'm going to be looking at Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Firstly, I will go through the photo mode settings one by one and explain what they do. Secondly, I'll review the mode, highlighting the good and bad points. And thirdly, I'll share a few examples of photos that I've taken with the mode and detail what settings I used and why. Okay, let's take a look at the photo mode settings. Basic settings. Right, to enter the photo mode, you need to click the L and R sticks in simultaneously. When you're in the photo mode, if you use the left and right sticks, they will rotate or move the camera. The L2 and R2 buttons are a zoom in and zoom out function. That's good for making small adjustments to your framing or getting closer to the subject if you can't get there any other way. L1 and R1 tilts the camera. This is good for creating dynamic feeling, surrealism, odd looking images, movement, combat, that kind of stuff. If you hold down the L3 button and use the R stick, that will orbit the camera. That basically anchors the camera to your character and it won't move far away, it will stay at a certain distance. The D-pad is used to offset the camera. That just means you can move it left, right, up or down. Up or down is kind of like craning. Craning can create depth. Low to high creates scale. High to low makes things it's good for panoramic, good for other stuff. If you click L3, that switches between edit and composition mode. We'll go into the other mode in a bit. Square, what does that do? It cycles grids. Why would you use grids? Good question. Well, I use them because usually in an image, to create an image that's balanced, you need to sort of work out where all the key elements are and have a nice distance between them. So it's a good way of measuring positions of subjects, eye line, things like that. Triangle, that gets rid of the HUD, shows you a preview if you want to press the screenshot button, or you can press X, that takes the photo, takes a little bit of time, but that one will then upload it to the Ubisoft photo place, whatever the official name is. Click R3, resets the camera. Circle button exits the photo mode. Right, so the edit settings, we've got a few. So depth of field, what is that? Depth of field is like the focus range. So one end is more focused, one end is less. Exposure, this is good for lightening the brighter areas fundamentally. It doesn't affect the shadows as much, but it's good if you want to create more of a moody nighttime shot, if you want to go down the bottom as well. Contrast, not that intense contrast slider. I usually use it on maximum because it doesn't have a great effect, but that's really if you want to create more definition between light and dark, shadows and things like that. Temperature, it's a slider. One end is warm, one end is cold. So depends what you want the image to have. Do you want to make it warmer or colder? You can use it for that. Tinting, similar to temperature except it's purple and green. Again, it just changes the tint of the image. You go too far down one end, it will be quite severe, so just use it delicately. Saturation is color. You go to 0, it will almost be black and white. You go to the top, it will be ridiculous, but it's good for bumping color up. Then there's noise. Noise, I use that a lot because it just adds a little bit of grainy texture to the image, especially because of the setting. It's kind of medieval, so it's a nice thing to add some depth and texture and kind of grittiness. Vignette. A vignette is a shadowy border around the image with the central area being the point of focus. So if you're focusing your subject in the middle of your photo, a vignette is a good way of improving that kind of emphasis. Bloom. What is bloom? Well, it makes, if you're wearing shiny armor and you put the bloom up, it makes it kind of glow and have a glossy kind of bloom, sunlight bloom effect. Then you've got fog. Fog is good if you want to neutralize the background because it makes everything almost white. So it's good if you want to isolate your subject and not have all of the crap in the background. L and R1 uses filters. L2 and R2 uses frames. You can use them accordingly depending on what you want to do. R3 resets all of those settings. Square toggles your headgear on and off if you want it on and off, depends on the image. You might want a portrait, you might want action. And L stick, this moves the focus ring. So wherever you move that ring, that will be what's in focus. The depth of field then will affect how much is in focus beyond where the focus ring is. Okay, that's the mode. Good points. Lots of settings to choose from. Great environment to take pictures in, character outfits are varied, and a good array of options to sort of make a nice photo. Bad. There's no face or stance change options. I'd say it needs more fun elements. And the cloud cover, it can be frustrating because it's set in England. The cloud comes and goes almost every 5 or 6 seconds, which means trying to find the right light can be a frustration. Scoring, 8.5 out of 10. Good mode, could be better, could be worse. Right, we're going to finish with 3 photo examples. So here is the first one. Now, you've probably seen this because this was the thumbnail art. I took this photo specifically for that, which is why my subject is to the right. And in the thumbnail, I had that nice clean space on the left for the logos. How did I get this? Well, I took my character up to a hilltop because I wanted nothing directly behind me in close proximity. I blurred out some of the background so you can see the trees are a little bit hazy, but it was too busy, so I added fog. But it was white, it didn't really stand out. I wanted a bright colour, so I took the temperature slider, went all the way down blue. But the background was blue and it made Ivor go blue. So Ivor had the warm sunlight on him. I increased the saturation, making the warm sunlight more warm, but it also made the blue bluer, which is why you've got this nice duality in the image of blue, like light, dark, warm, cold. I increased the contrast to maximum because we have a side light from the right hand side, so you've got shadow on the left side of the image. I think I put a very delicate minor vignette on there, and what else did I do? I think that was it really. A bit of grain, but yeah, worked well. That's what the thumbnail looked like in the end. That's what the original looked like. So yeah, that's how I did that one. Second image, this is quite simple. It's on the boat, so I quite like this. It's got a nice atmosphere. Again, first thing you notice is the bloom. Like I said, the metallic part of the boat, raise the bloom, gives it that glistening quality. I used fog to neutralize the background so it defines the main character more. The sunlight is behind, so it's not silhouetted, it's kind of moody, it's a bit grainy, bit of contrast. I took some color out, I didn't put any temperature changes, I wanted it to be a little bit muted, and that's really what I did. Again, tiny vignetting, bit of noise, done. Final image, so this one's very sort of striking with the fire. Again, this is just an example of using the environment. Didn't do a great deal with this image, a bit of a vignette. I didn't do much contrast because it would have been hard to see Ivor. I made it a bit warmer, a bit more saturation, tiny bit of grain, and it was just about getting the right framing, you know, again, character to one side, something else on the other to sort of create a mood, and that warm fire glow gives it a nice atmosphere. And there you go, that's all for today. I hope you found it interesting, useful, and I hope it will help you use Assassin's Creed Valhalla's photo mode. If you've got questions, comment please, like, subscribe, click on the bell, you know, all the support is welcome. But for now, this is Photography Gamer signing off. Until next time, cheers.